There's a reason doctors making $300,000 a year are secretly broke, while the guy driving a 10-year-old Toyota has a $5 million net worth. Social media has brainwashed us into playing an unwinnable game of looking rich. The truth is, the algorithm actually profits off your insecurity. Every time you feel poor, you buy something you don't need, and the platforms get paid by advertisers. It's a massive trap. But while everyone else is going into debt for the illusion of wealth, a quiet 1% of society is hoarding the real thing. Today, we are breaking down the 7 habits of stealth wealth. And habit 7 is the exact psychological trick they use to never run out of money. Let's start with the foundational pillar, the anti-flex asset allocation. Imagine two 30-year-olds, John and Mike, both just got a $50,000 bonus. John instantly goes to the dealership for a luxury sports car. Subconsciously, he's buying a $50,000 billboard to show his high school friends he's winning. But Mike operates with a stealth wealth mindset. He quietly transfers that 50 grand into an index fund and goes to sleep. Now, fast forward 5 years, John's luxury car has lost 60% of its value. It requires premium gas, expensive mechanics, and he's still paying off the loan with high interest. Mike's index fund? It has compounded quietly in the background, likely doubling in value. Mike didn't just save money, he bought a machine that prints more money. The truly wealthy view social status as a heavy tax that the middle class voluntarily pays. Flashy cars and branded watches attract higher taxes, opportunistic lawsuits, and fake friends. Stealth wealth millionaires prefer their bank accounts to be loud and their outfits to be completely quiet. They buy invisible assets that actually pay them to own them. But this doesn't mean quiet millionaires are just cheap. In fact, they spend heavily, but their framework is entirely different. Which brings us to habit 2, extreme utility over brand prestige. The fake rich fall for what economists call Veblen goods, things that only hold value because they are ridiculously expensive. They'll drop $500 on a t-shirt just to have a luxury logo on their chest. They are paying for strangers to calculate how much they spent. A stealth wealth millionaire will also spend $500, but on a custom-tailored cashmere sweater with zero branding. Why? It comes down to a concept called cost per wear. That $500 logo t-shirt might get worn 10 times before it shrinks or goes out of style. That's $50 per wear. The custom cashmere sweater gets worn 200 times over a decade. The true cost is $2.50 per wear. Stealth wealth isn't about spending less. It's about doing the math that the fake rich are too lazy to do. They buy for internal validation, superior comfort, perfect fit, and massive durability. Instead of leasing a fragile European SUV to look important in traffic, they buy the highest level trim of a Toyota Land Cruiser. Outside, it blends in. Inside, it's pure luxury that runs for 300,000 miles. They understand that a brand name is often just a markup for the insecure. So, how do they get the massive piles of cash needed to buy these invisible assets without budgeting pennies? That's habit 3. And it's the exact reason high-earning professionals are secretly broke. Habit 3 is weaponizing the income-to-ego gap. We've all seen this tragedy. Someone gets a promotion and suddenly their apartment isn't good enough. Their reliable car is embarrassing. Their ego grows at the exact same rate as their paycheck. This is lifestyle creep, and it's driven by Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available. In personal finance, it means your expenses will automatically rise to meet your new income unless you forcefully intervene. When a stealth wealth investor gets a massive pay bump, they do something completely unnatural. They freeze their lifestyle. If they lived comfortably on $4,000 a month before, they keep living on $4,000 a month when their income triples. That widening gap between a massive income and stubbornly low expenses, that is where true wealth is born. By starving their ego and ignoring Parkinson's law, they compress decades of investing into just a few short years. But keeping your own ego in check is only half the battle. If you don't do this next step, the people closest to you will drain your accounts. Habit 4 is strategic financial anonymity. Simply put, become a financial ghost. Quiet millionaires hide their true net worth from almost everyone. Why? Because human nature is messy. The moment people know you have real money, the dynamic of every relationship shifts. You become the unofficial emergency fund for everyone you know. You get pitched terrible business ideas and asked for loans that will never be repaid. And the worst part, if you say no, you are painted as the bad guy. True stealth wealth practitioners avoid this entire circus. If someone asks how their business is doing, they just say it pays the bills. But you know how crazy the economy is right now? They master the art of looking successfully average. It is the ultimate armor. It protects your peace of mind and ensures your friends actually like you for your character, not your wallet. And once that armor is built, your entire perspective on what money is actually for completely flips. Habit 5 is buying time, not trophies. Think about the corporate executive making $500,000 a year. They work 80 hours a week, their phone never stops ringing, and they have zero free time. High income, absolutely zero freedom. Now, let's introduce the concept of the time billionaire. A 20-year-old with an empty bank account but total freedom has over 2 billion seconds left to live. A 70-year-old billionaire with failing health has a fraction of that. The stealth wealthy realize that time is the ultimate non-renewable currency. The quiet millionaire might make half of what that executive makes, but they completely control their schedule. They aggressively use money to buy back their time. They pay for meal deliveries, house cleaners, and virtual assistants to ruthlessly eliminate low-value tasks. They don't want a mansion they never have time to live in. They want the mental bandwidth to sit on their porch on a Tuesday morning and drink coffee without looking at their phone. To them, an empty calendar on a Wednesday afternoon is a much bigger flex than a Rolex. You can always make another dollar. You can never buy back a single spent second. But you can't become a time billionaire if you're surrounded by people who waste yours. Habit 6 is curating an ironclad inner circle. You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. If your friend group only talks about luxury vacations, designer shoes, and new cars, the unspoken pressure to conform will eventually break your willpower. This doesn't mean you have to brutally cut off your childhood friends, but it does mean you need to consciously dilute their influence. Quiet millionaires actively build an inner circle of people who discuss ideas, business growth, health, and philosophy. They seek out rooms where they are the poorest, but the most eager to learn. When nobody in the room cares about the brand name on your jacket, the urge to spend money to impress them simply vanishes. Escaping the consumerism trap requires a psychological fortress, and your friends are the walls of that fortress. If your walls are weak, society's pressure will crush you. Finally, we reach the mechanical engine that puts all this into motion. If you don't use this, human willpower will fail you. Habit 7 is the rich broke strategy. If you looked at a stealth millionaire's daily checking account, you'd think they were broke. The balance hovers dangerously close to zero, and that is entirely by design. They know human willpower is flawed. If money sits there, you will eventually find a reason to spend it. So, they don't trust themselves to transfer the money manually. Here is exactly how they do it. They use direct deposit splitting through their employer, or set up automated transfers the exact day their paycheck lands. Before they even wake up, the vast majority of their cash is ruthlessly funneled into index funds, real estate, and business capital. They leave just enough to cover basic, frozen living expenses. By intentionally making themselves feel cash poor day to day, they become massively asset rich in the background. If a new iPhone comes out, they look at their nearly empty checking account and genuinely say, "I guess I can't afford that right now." True wealth doesn't shout, it whispers. The loud flexing you see on social media is usually a mask for deep financial insecurity and massive debt. So the next time you are tempted to buy something you don't need, ask yourself a very hard question. Are you playing the game of money to look rich to people you don't even like? Or are you playing the game to be truly, permanently free? If you want to choose freedom, hit subscribe and join the Grow with Tony community so you don't miss our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep growing. And remember, keep building quietly. I'll see you in the next one.